So I'm here today with New York Times and USA Today bestselling author Julia Spencer-Fleming. Hello, Julia.
Hi, Jess.
Thanks for being here with us today. Julia and I get together quite frequently and have all kinds of great chats. And so I wanted for us to do a chat where you get to peek behind the curtain and see us doing a chat with each other. Um, and today, what we were going to talk about was some questions and conversation around goals and goal setting and the values of that and all that sort of thing. So, buckle up. So, Julia,
Yeah,
is your year off to a good start?
my year is off to a good start. I finished up December getting major edits finished, and I also teach at the local community college, and I got all of that wrapped up. And I'm starting the new year by starting a new book, which always feels super exciting. And yeah, so things have been going really well. How about you?
Well, it's been wonderful. I have I've been in relaxation mode over Christmas and into the new year because my husband was on vacation. And we just really stepped away from work for those couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks. It was wonderful. And then that left me really refreshed and ready to start plotting and planning for what's on the horizon for this year. So, yeah, it's been really very nice. Except for the freezing cold weather, it's been a great start.
Yeah, that's, that's what we get for living in New England.
It is, and in old drafty houses. So, goals. How do
Goals.
you feel about them? Do you like to plan goals?
I am not a natural, I'm not a naturally organized person. Let's put it like that. So, goals are a challenge to me a little bit. I find I absolutely need to set them, but it's got to be the right kind of goal. I'm a big believer in SMART goals, the specific, measurable, achievable,
Realistic, time bound,
realistic. I was going radiographic. Yeah.
radioactive.
Once I hit the first three, I'm usually doing pretty good. Um, I don't do well at all with big long-term goals. I'm an elephant eater.
Hmm.
I need to take little bites off of the big elephant. That's a terrible
It's
image. I
just
wish
a
I
terrible image.
had that.
But it is, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, especially for authors, because a book is written one word at a time, right? It is really a nibbly bit and a nibbly bit until suddenly you have, instead of eating the elephant, you've created an elephant, but it is
Created.
a little step by little step by little step sort of a feeling. So that would make sense.
There's a saying, and I cannot remember which author originally said it, that writing a novel is like painting a mural with the brush in your teeth. So you can only see this little bit right
Hmm.
in front of you. But
Hmm.
then when you reach the end, you've got this whole enormous, picture that's rolled out.
That's fascinating. That sounds like discovery draft authors, doesn't it? Like the people who really need to be in that feeling their way forward instead of
And
plotting
and I
ahead.
tend to be that sort of a writer. I tend to um, need to write forward to figure out a lot of what's happening in the book and happening with the characters.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So you like goals as long as they're sort of achievable and in front of you without
Yeah.
so much long-term situation. Um, do you have goals that you try to bring to every novel that you write?
So my goal as an author for every novel is to stretch myself. I want to try something that is different, that is going to challenge me. I feel that ultimately what readers want from the writers they love is the same but different. You know,
Hmm.
you want to know what you get a story, you know, if you pick up a book that says Julia Spencer-Fleming on it, you know you're going to get some social issues and drama and romance
Hmm.
and some action because I like my
Hmm.
action scenes. But within that, I want to try different things. So, for instance, I've written a book that takes place over like, you know, 60 years.
Hmm.
Um, I've written a book that takes place over 24 hours.
Hmm.
I've played a lot with structure. I've tried like a story within a story, you know, using framework. I've done stuff that's very, very close to you know, the locked room mystery, where it
Hmm.
really focuses in on my central two protagonists being, you know, stuck in one location. I like to try different things because I feel if I'm not learning and growing as an
Mm.
author, then I'm going to feel stuck. And I think, and you probably notice this not just as a writer, but also as a reader. Um, you can tell when an author that you like is feeling, you know, stuck or bored, or they're not, you know, they're not experiencing the fun of
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah, a bit of a stale feeling to the situation.
Yeah.
So same but same
Yeah,
instead of
little
same but
mildew
different.
in the room or something.
You can still eat the spread. You just have to trim that piece off. Great. That's delightful.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think for me, I am I want it to be fun. Everything that I do with my work, even when it's, dead bodies, which makes it seem like that shouldn't be fun or that you're a little bit unstable if it is that like it should be fun. And for me, a lot of that has to do with putting my characters in situations that I find to be really enjoyable or the research piece for a project that takes me into a learning experience that I haven't had before, and then figuring out how to integrate that into the story in a propulsive and meaningful way that
Hmm.
isn't dragging things down, burdening them with research, but it's really immersive. Like that's a goal for me for each of my books is for it to be an immersive experience that
Yeah.
people are feeling really transported into another place in time and that they're naturally assimilating the types of things that I've had for research without it
I,
ending up being a history lesson, stomping on them, and it's a slog.
this is interesting, as you could tell by the fact I've been like, because I feel like goals change as you move into and then deeper in your publishing career. When you first start out, you know, when I first started, my goal was to finish a novel, you know,
Absolutely.
to write a novel.
Right,
That's the
right.
goal.
And
Just
write a first draft of a novel.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, you know, and then your goal is to get an agent or to, you know, sell the novel. Or if you're self-pubbing, to figure out how to, you know, get your novel out there and self-publish.
Mhm.
And then you sort of move forward. And then maybe your next goal is going to be, okay, I'm going to make it at least as successful as the first, but I want to reach more readers.
Mhm.
Or it becomes, you know, I want to get, I'm writing mysteries, but I want people who don't just identify themselves as mystery readers. And then you get on to, you know, you and I are both fairly well into our careers.
Mhm.
I'm getting my 10th book is being published later this year, and you're on what?
I've turned in my 20th.
Woo! So, you know, it's interesting that at our stage now, both of us, our goals are really a little bit more interior
Mm. Yes.
around the process itself and what that means to us and for the readers.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure I've got goals that I want to achieve professionally about, you know, bigger deals or in my case, faster books, so they're coming out more frequently. But also a lot of the very first, the most important things when it comes to writing, it feels like it's that interior work.
Mhm.
Let's do
Mhm.
something that, you know, that satisfies me as an author and, you know, is going to enrich the experience, like you said, for the readers.
Hmm. Yeah. That I think that as you build confidence that you
Hmm.
can complete the project, that
Yeah,
you have written something publishable, that it does receive decent reviews, that you do end up with a readership that's being built and people asking when is that next book, what will be they're eager. You are able to turn your attention to something else in addition. You don't stop doing the things that got you into that place, but they become much more natural
yeah,
to do them. And so adding those new pieces becomes something you can onboard because you've gotten good enough at the other bits to be able to add and focus on additional
absolutely.
things. There's no
Yeah,
way that I think any new writer is able to juggle all the balls that they're able to juggle as they've added more and more experience of creating novels.
yeah, yeah. It's like life, which I think is one of the great things about writing is that whatever age you are, you always have a unique viewpoint on the world. I can't write about what life is like as a 20-year-old in 2025. I mean, I could write characters of it, but that's not like my deep. The person who is 20 this year has their own viewpoint that
Mhm,
is, you can share in writing, but also writing like life gets, I think, better as you get more experiences and you gain more confidence
mhm.
in what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a lovely pleasure that I didn't see coming. I think a lot of writers tend to be um, always concerned about how is this coming out? How is this landing? Is it
Mhm.
compelling enough? Is it rich enough? Is it, in a case of a mystery, is there enough mystery in the mystery? Am I keeping the secrets I need to keep? And so to have places where you do become more confident is such a relief because there's so many places that you do keep questioning no
Right,
matter what.
right. When I wrote my first book, I didn't know how to express that characters were thinking things. And I read this tip, I think it was in Writer's Digest magazine, that have your character touch their head and and it will indicate that they are thinking to the reader. And so in my first book, people are constantly touching their hair. I gave Claire a habit of like twisting her hair, which actually is something that I do when I'm thinking is, sort of twist and untwist my hair. Um, and eventually I got to the point where I realized I can just put it in italics and be like, yeah, she's thinking this. You don't have to do your head.
Oh, did you get any feedback from an editor about
I
this?
didn't
This
know. I didn't. I
that is
just
really funny.
realized eventually that I didn't have to. Yeah.
What am I thinking, Julie?
What am I thinking? What? Yes, right. What is?
Next time I see you and I go like this, you're gonna know I'm teasing you
That's
about
right. We're
this.
going to be touching our hair constantly.
I twirl my curl. I have deep thoughts. Um,